Welcome to Mill History Talk, the podcast where we explore the past to better understand the profession of arms today. We dive into the campaigns, conflicts, issues, and commanders that have shaped military thinking across centuries and why it all still matters. Whether you're an officer in training, a seasoned professional, a student of strategy, or simply curious about how history informs modern warfare, this space is for you. Our mission is simple: to foster insight, reflection, and critical thinking, primarily through the lens of military history. Before we begin, a quick note. The views expressed in this podcast are the podcast writers, hosts, and guests, and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of any government agency or organization. So, whether you're listening in a barracks, a lecture hall, at the gym, or in your car on the way to work, welcome. We're glad you're here. I'm your host, Lou, and today I'll be reviewing a book that is a true classic of World War II history, Samuel E. Morison's The Two-Ocean War. Now, if you've ever wanted to understand how the U.S. Navy fought and won a global war across two massive theaters, this is the book you want to start with. And I don't say that lightly. I first read this book when I was in high school. Since then, I've reread it once and used it as an essential reference too many times to count. My copy is so worn I'm in the market for a good first edition replacement for the classic work shelf in my bookcase. The Two-Ocean War is essentially a condensed version of Morison's epic 15-volume official history of U.S. naval operations in World War II. But don't worry, this one's much more approachable. Just one volume and written for general readers, not just scholars or officers. So what makes it a must-read? First, the author. Samuel E. Morison wasn't just any historian. He was a Harvard professor who actually served at sea during the war. He had a front row seat to a lot of what he writes about. FDR basically gave him the green light to embed with the fleet so he could record the Navy's story firsthand. And the result is this book, clear, vivid, and full of insight. Morison takes us through the entire arc of the war, flipping between the Atlantic and Pacific to show just how massive and complex the Navy's job really was. We get convoy battles with German U-boats, the grind of Guadalcanal, the turning point at Midway, the largest naval battle ever at Leyte Gulf, and the final push to Japan. He's not just listing operations. He's explaining how it all connects strategically and what it felt like to be in the middle of it. And the writing? It's excellent. Morison was a storyteller. He didn't bury you in jargon or drown you in technical details, but at the same time, if you're someone who appreciates accuracy, tactical nuance, and smart analysis, this book delivers. One of the things I love most is how he blends the big picture strategy with the human element. You get a real sense of what sailors and officers experienced on the deck, in the CIC, or at general quarters. You feel the tension of sonar contact in a North Atlantic storm, or the adrenaline of launching carrier strikes at dawn. Now, fair warning, it's a product of its time. It was published in the early 60s, and it definitely reflects the mindset of that era. Morison has a deep respect for the U.S. Navy, and it shows. There's not a lot of time spent exploring the enemy's perspective, or the broader social issues like segregation in the ranks or the role of women. That's not what this book is about. This is an operational and strategic history, and judged on that basis, it holds up beautifully. If you're looking for a detailed critique of U.S. naval policy or a deep dive into wartime politics, this isn't the book.
But if you want to understand how the U.S. Navy went from fighting off U-boats on the East Coast to projecting power across the Pacific with massive carrier task forces, this is your blueprint. And for anyone in the military profession or aspiring to be, the Two-Ocean War offers lessons in leadership, planning, adaptation, and innovation. It's about the grind of global logistics, the evolution of naval doctrine, and the importance of joint and combined operations.
There's a reason it's been on the reading list for officer development for decades. Bottom line, this book is a classic, a must-read, and in my opinion, still the best one-volume introduction to the U.S. Navy's role in World War II. Whether you're a serious student of history, a naval officer, or just someone curious about how the war was fought and won at sea, the Two-Ocean War should be on your shelf or in your ears. So that's it for today's briefing. If you've read The Two-Ocean War, let me know what you thought. Drop a comment or shoot us a message. And if you haven't read it yet, consider this your nudge to pick it up. Thanks for tuning in to Mill History Talk. Until next time, fair winds and following seas.